Is the food pyramid something that we should be following? Find out on this next episode of Digest This.
Welcome to Digest This, the show that helps you revolutionize your digestive health. Here are your hosts, Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato.
Hello and welcome to Digest This. I'm Dr. Liz Cruz and I've got Tina Nunziato sitting right here by my side. Thank you so much for joining us. If you are a regular listener, we thank you for your loyalty. We know that you all have busy schedules, and the fact that you take time to spend 15-20 minutes with us every week means so much. And if you're a new listener, welcome. We're so happy that you joined us. Check out our library of podcasts. We've got hundreds of podcasts in there.
Yeah, we actually had a huge uptick of people going on our website this week booking consults, and they said they heard about us through the podcast.
Awesome. Very cool. Check it out. So today we wanted to talk about pyramids.
Not pyramid schemes.
Not pyramid schemes.
Food pyramids.
Not the Egyptian pyramids. That's right. Pyramid, the food pyramids.
Food pyramid.
That's right. So you may, if you're a regular listener, recently we did a podcast, and I don't even remember which podcast it was, but we were talking about a woman who got diagnosed with colon cancer on a screening colonoscopy. Like, she wasn't even having issues. And she talked about, it was a podcast that I was listening to, or a video. She talked about the fact that she thought she was doing great and being healthy because she was following the food pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
And
which one is the question?
Exactly. I was like, oh my goodness,
There's so many.
We got to talk about the food pyramid.
I know.
And so Tina, the other day, she's like, do you know that I Googled food pyramid, and there are so many different pyramids.
And we actually created our own too.
We did.
At our office
Yeah,
for
we
our
have.
patients.
I was thinking we might have it here,
I can
but we don't.
imagine that there are so many people who've created their own food pyramid and put it online, and then then everyone's following which food pyramid. I don't know what people are following. I guess if they pick the food pyramid that works best for them. I don't know.
So I'm not sure how far back food pyramids go. I definitely know they go back to when I was a kid. So, back into the 1970s. I know you weren't even born until 74.
Yes.
So anyways, you would know.
I do remember the food pyramid in school.
No. Yeah. And that's where I remember seeing it. You'd have all these posters of drink your milk. And then I remember seeing posters of the food pyramid back then. So we were trying to find
one of the old
food pyramids. So we did find one, and I thought that it was amazing. So, the way the food pyramid works is at the bottom, that is, the widest part of your pyramid, right? And that is because that's where you want to spend the majority of your time as far as what you eat and what you drink. The quantity
of what you
exactly.
drink. Yeah.
Right. So one of the food pyramids we found, and I don't know if this is one of the originals, but this is definitely an older one. At the very bottom of the pyramid was a whole section of bread and pasta.
Grains.
It's
basically the grains. And actually, there are many food pyramids have grains at the base of the food pyramid.
But this one, the picture is very heavy in breads.
Yes.
Breads and pasta.
Yeah. So basically what that means is that what this pyramid is saying is that's what you should be eating the most of is your grains, right? Your carbs. So is that, what we should be eating the most of? Probably not today, but back then that was a big deal for us to be eating healthy grains.
Exactly.
The problem is that since the 1970s to today, there's not very many healthy grains out there that we're eating.
True. Like even bread has changed. I mean, so it's very true. I mean, maybe back in the 60s and 70s, bread was much more wholesome.
Yeah, a little more
simpler and more wholesome.
Yeah.
It's also, and we've got it pulled up here. I wish we could show it to you, but on the side, then they have different things. They have milk. They have
what they're doing there is they're showing the servings.
Right.
So they're saying for the bread, for the grain section, they're saying 6 to 11 servings of grain a day. I don't even think I could eat that many
Grain,
servings
bread,
if I
and
tried.
pasta. Grain, bread, and
That's
pasta.
a lot of servings of food.
It is. It is.
So-
It's a lot. Like, that's actually the amount of servings or more that we should be eating of fruit and vegetable.
Right, exactly.
Okay? Fruit and vegetables, fruit. I mean, that's what we really don't get enough on. And you could speak to this. You're the one that's doing the wellness nutritional consults.
Yeah. Well, at the base of our food pyramid is water, just so you know. The very bottom of our food pyramid starts water, because technically out of everything you do during the day, that's what you should be doing the most of, is water. And then from there, we've got our vegetables, and we go up from there. But the standard food pyramid that you'll find online, it'll have grains at the base, and then it'll have fruits and vegetables typically, and then it usually combines dairy with meats, and then, or actually dairy sometimes with fish, and then above that typically is meat, and then above that they put oil typically, and butter, and so those types, like your fats, right? Which that has actually shifted quite a bit over the last several years, where they're moving the fats, especially healthy fats like olive oil, down the food pyramid, and what they're pushing up are meats and sweets. They've
And when
added
she says
sweets,
pushing up,
meaning toward the top.
towards towards the skinnier part, which means
The least amount.
the least amount. Okay.
Yeah. So some of the more recent food pyramids, you'll see meat and sweets now, where sweets weren't even originally in the original food pyramid. Like sweets were nowhere to be found. Now it's in the food pyramid because we're eating so much of it. I think they felt it necessary to put it in there now to say, hey, we should only be eating just a teeny tiny bit of those sweets. But I think it's interesting that they've thrown meat in that category. Dairy, cheeses, milks, those still seem to be right below meat.
Right.
And then fish, and then your fruits and veggies and your grains. And actually, in even some of the more recent food pyramids, the grains are switched with fruits and veggies. So fruits and veggies are at the bottom, and then grains, which I think, we've talked about.
I would agree with that. Yeah. And that's our pyramid is okay. So the water, fruit and vegetable,
veggies,
grains.
And then we talk about fish, and we
Right.
talk about more plant-based proteins.
Exactly.
And then we get into the same thing: meats, dairy, sweets up at the top.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. And
Oils
don't
too.
we have
oils right in the middle.
don't we
well.
have like
And
almond
nuts,
milk or
nuts
in
and
there?
seeds? Yeah. So that falls into the nuts and seeds category, or things like the alternative milks. But those are right in the middle as well. It's more the dairy, the sweets, and the meat that are toward the top.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, pull up the Mediterranean pyramid. The Mediterranean pyramid. So the Mediterranean pyramid is actually pretty cool because actually at the very bottom they have be physically active and enjoy meals with others.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have these cute little images of people moving their body,
Dancing.
and sitting around a table with other people and talking to
Right,
each other, which
right.
again we don't do a lot of these days. And that is super important, right? To be active and to share meals. So I like that they have that at the bottom.
Yeah, that's
of
actually
their
very
pyramid.
cool. And then right above that is where they have all their vegetable, fruit, and they actually put their grains right into that
Yeah,
section.
and
The oils
are also there.
Yeah, the legumes, the herbs, and then you move up and you got your fish and seafood, and then you move a little higher up and you have poultry, eggs, cheese, yogurt. And then at the top, like Tina was talking about, the meats and the sweets. Off to the side, they have water and wine. Water
Wine
and
is
wine.
above water.
Yes,
for
it
those
is.
of you that are wondering.
That's right, closer to the skinnier part. Closer to the skinnier part. So yeah, I think, the food pyramids, look, a lot of people are visual, and so I think food pyramids are great because it's something visual for those who like visual. I'm a very visual person. And so I like seeing it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. But what other pyramids did you pull up?
Well, the one that like Michelle Obama was going out and promoting when Obama was in office, she had her own efforts that she was working on, which was trying to get schools to provide healthier meals for kids. And so she was really big on like a balanced diet and things like that. So she had changed the food pyramid, kind of, sort of, when she was in office with Obama. They had come up with this website called choosemyplate.gov, and theirs is more of a circular, right, where they show out of a plate like what percentage should be, of the different foods. And the majority of their plate was vegetables.
Okay.
And then it was fruit and protein were kind of the same. And then grains was kind of in the middle.
Okay.
So it was like vegetables the most, then grains, then fruit and protein were a little bit smaller and the same. And then, of course, there's always the dairy off to the side.
Right.
Got to make sure you have your glass of milk. The government will always tell you got to make sure you have your glass of milk, which I told you we should podcast about.
We will. That'll be our next podcast.
Yeah, because we really should talk about like some of the just what happened in the milk industry and how why, even in schools, why you see the milk posters,
right?
Why you see so many ads for meat and dairy. It's important to understand where that's coming from, and that just because the government is telling you got to make sure you get your glass of milk in every day doesn't necessarily mean you need to get your glass of milk in every day.
Right.
So we can talk more about that on another podcast. But so she kind of changed the food pyramid a little bit at her level when she was trying to work on stuff for the schools, but. I don't think that really went very far in the amount of time they had in the office, because I know what our kids' school is providing for lunch. It's not great. No. Anyway.
All right. Well,
we digress.
Exactly. No. But it's good. I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely interesting information.
Yeah.
So, anyways, all sorts of food pyramids out there, and. I think, do we still have our food pyramids up in our office?
Yeah, they're up in all of our exam rooms.
Yeah, so if you've come to our office, if you are one of our patients, you've probably seen our food pyramid that we have there. And, so basically, I mean, bottom line is like Tina said, we are 80-90% water. So water is number one. Okay, we've got to drink water. We don't hydrate enough. We are definitely a very dehydrated society. Okay, we drink all sorts of other beverages except enough water. So a lot of water, lots of hydration, help keep you hydrated, help you flush out the toxins, and then right on up to the vegetables and fruit and
more veggies than fruit. We try to teach people to eat more veggies than fruit. Yeah, just because your body needs, especially green vegetables. So that's the other thing, like in that vegetable category, you got to be really careful, because a lot of people will say, well, I eat a lot of, because they eat a lot of frozen veggies, right, for the most part, because people say, well, I don't like buying vegetables because they go bad on me very quickly. So they'll buy frozen veggies, which is okay, but anytime a vegetable has been canned or frozen, it loses some of that nutritional value.
Right.
So it is really important to try to eat fresh veggies if you can, and especially greens. So only buy what you're going to prepare that week. That's really, really important. And, when I ask patients, like, what vegetables do you eat? It's primarily, carrots, peas, and corn, right? Which peas is not a vegetable. It's a starch. And then carrots and corn are not green. And so that's the thing, is trying to be really conscientious about getting more greens into your diet, because green food is what builds the blood. That's super, super important above everything in terms of what food we're eating. Right. But that tends to be the least thing that we're eating, right, for most people.
Yes, so absolutely.
If you can flip that for yourself in your pyramid and try to eat more veggies than
eat more
anything
salads.
else.
Eat more salads, and
veggie soups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your body's definitely going to appreciate you for it.
Sure. And I know there's some people that are like, oh, well, I have to have some protein, at lunchtime if I'm going to eat that salad. Look, there's ways to add protein to your salad. You can add half a can or a can of beans. I always take beans with me when I go to a surgical center to work, and they order me salads, and I'll put half a can of garbanzo beans or some sort of beans on there just to add some more protein to it.
Or you can add quinoa.
You can add quinoa. Oh yeah, that's another one. They actually order a lot of quinoa for my salads, which is a really nice protein.
Yeah. And in general, Americans tend to eat about 150% more protein a day than the body requires. So that idea of, well, I got to make sure I'm getting my protein in for breakfast and my protein in for lunch and my protein in for dinner. You actually don't need that much protein to get through the day.
And not to put you on the spot or anything, but do you know how much we require? I mean, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Off the top of my head. Okay, I just know we tend to eat way more than the body requires.
I agree with that.
And it's again trying to get more plant-based proteins in there than animal proteins is really important too. So like we were talking about with beans or quinoa, even greens give you some protein. I know, a lot of people are surprised by that, but the more greens you can eat, you do get protein. Doing a protein powder, like a pea-based protein powder in smoothies and things like that can give you protein where you don't have to eat meat, right? Or even fish. I mean, even though we do eat fish throughout the week, we don't eat it at every meal, right? So trying to mix up the type of protein you're giving your body throughout the day and not necessarily having to eat meat all the time.
Very good. Well, we are so excited that you have been on this episode with us. And if you'd like to connect with us and schedule a free 30-minute wellness consult, please go to our website, and that's drlizcruz.com. And on the homepage, there is a magenta colored button that you click, and you can schedule a wellness consult. And you can do that from anywhere around the world because that's done over the phone. And like I said, it's free to you. That is our gift to you. So, and you do not have to be a patient. This is for anyone. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And lastly, if you have not given us a rating, please rate us and please give us a 5 because it'll help other people just like you to find us. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you on the next podcast.
Thank you for joining Dr. Liz Cruz and Tina Nunziato. To learn more about their revolutionary products and services, go online to www.drlizcruz.com.